Hey everyone, it's your boy justafreak and I'm back with another short video. This time I'm going to talk about what I read in the month of September. So yeah, let's dive into it. One of my reads was this beautiful volume from Moto Hagio. It's called The Drunken Dream and Other Stories. This is a hardcover. And this one was recently republished because it was out of print for quite a while. And yeah, I know that a lot of people were searching for it, including me, so I was really happy when I saw that it got back in print. It's a collection of short stories, and I think that my favorite one was The Girl on the Porch with a Puppy. Yeah, pretty sweet volume with a bunch of stories. Some of them are even more intriguing, and yeah, it's Moto Hagio, one of the mangakas that, I don't know, maybe brought JoJo manga to the Western world. So yeah, pretty happy with it. I had fun reading it. Next one, I also read volume 9 from Tales of Wedding Rings. This is a more ecchi-like story with fantasy aspects in it, about a guy who goes to another world with his friend, his childhood friend, that is also a princess and who kind of gets the role of trying to be the hero who saves that whole world. Anyway, it's pretty enjoyable. I always read these volumes right after I get them. Sadly, they kind of come out pretty slowly right now for a while, but the series is coming closer and closer to its climax, at least from what I think, so we shouldn't be waiting for too many of these volumes. But anyway, a series that I enjoy and that I always read after I buy, so yeah, happy to read volume 9 from Tales of Wedding Rings. The next one that I read was King of Eden. This is a horror-like story that was recommended to me by Justy from Justy's Cave, another channel, manga tube channel here on YouTube. He recommended this to me a while ago and I picked it up finally and I started reading it. I said one night that maybe I should try to read a couple of chapters from the first volume to see how it is, and it was so enjoyable that I kind of binged it. So yeah, it was a great surprise, has its flaws, but it was quite enjoyable to me. It's it's about some kind of an epidemic that spreads around the globe. And yeah, has an Easter egg in this one, at least for me. There's a lot of action actually taking place in my country, in Romania, so that was also pretty cool. But overall, an enjoyable story and I liked it. Now, another thing that I read this month was Dorotheo, and I read 8 volumes from this series, and damn, this is a crazy series that so far I enjoy so much, and will probably finish soon. But yeah, it's about a universe where there are 2 different worlds. One world where humans lived in, and that's kind of like a big dump, and another one where sorcerers live in, and that's a little bit better but also freaky. And the thing is that the sorcerers usually come to the human world to experiment with magic on humans, and I don't know how to describe this series. It's like an acid trip, a bad one that's also really good. I don't know if you get me. But anyway, having a lot of fun with this one. It's a pretty great seinen from Kyu Hayashida, and yeah, one of the series that I'm picking up now is the other one from her, and it's called Die Dark. But yeah, so far having a ton of fun with this one, and I highly recommend it if you're into seinen gory series that are full of crazy. Another thing that I did was to jump into the ecchi train, and I did that with 2 series, and one of them being Parallel Paradise. I read volume 2, 3, 4 and 5. I don't have yet volume 2. It's still on the way here. I have an order on Amazon that hasn't came through. But anyway, I read that digitally, and yeah, I'm enjoying this series. But let me tell you something. This one over here is I don't know, almost hentai. Almost hentai. Honestly, sometimes I don't know where's the difference between hentai and manga in some of these series. I guess it's not hentai if it still has an enjoyable story without the ecchi parts. But anyway, this one is about a guy who gets transported to another world, and he's the only guy there. The whole world is full with women and other creatures, and I don't know, they have some kind of curse on them that doesn't allow them to live past reaching adulthood, and they also feel very aroused only at the idea of man, or at the idea of touching him, or when they touch him, then everything turns out pretty crazy. But yeah, if you're into ecchi series that also have some story and are fantasy and all of that stuff, try this one. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. It's done by the same mangaka who did Elfen Lied. So yeah, the art is pretty cool. Let's see. Can I find something that's not that lewd? Here it is, some art also here. But anyway, a fantasy medieval story with a ton of ecchi parts in it, and yeah, pretty enjoyable. And the other ecchi story that I read this month, also this is really ecchi. It's Last Gears. And yeah, I picked this recently. It was kind of a blind buy, so try a new series. And yeah, I think also the cover from volume 2 kind of pushed me into that direction, to be honest, now that I think of it. And yeah, it's pretty ecchi. It's pretty ecchi. The covers say enough. And this one is about a boy who has a crush on his childhood friend that also goes to the same school as him. And yeah, he never has the courage to actually tell her what's happening, but yeah, things happen, and I know, after giving her a specific gift, everything goes a little bit crazy. And I don't want to spoil too many. I just want to say that there is a mystery inside of it, a mystery that they kind of have to solve, and until they solve it, they have to deal with the curse that was put on them. And besides that, one thing that I started to think that I would turn into a problem in this series, and that was after reading volume 3. I feel like this is turning into one of those harem series where every other volume another girl gets into the story and she has a crush on the main character, and it just tends to be like a sort of do-over. With every new thing, another girl, another crush, and so on and so on and so on. And it kind of felt with volume 3 that that's gonna happen. And hopefully it won't, at least not more than it did, because that will kind of ruin it a bit for me. But until that part, it was enjoyable, pretty mature, and with some mystery in it. Another one that I read this month was Blade of the Immortal, and I read from volume 21 to volume 24, those being in this omnibus over here. And yeah, what can I say? The story is becoming more and more spicy, more action heavy. There was an arc before this one that was pretty dark, but yeah, it's still pretty interesting. It's nearing its end, and it's nearing its climax, I think. So yeah, still having fun with this one. And besides these physical volumes, I also was able to read some webtoons, some Korean manga. One of them being The Horizon, 3 volumes of it, and that was the complete story. The Horizon is a really dark and sad story about a boy who keeps walking forward in a post-apocalyptic world, ravaged by war and destroyed by people. And yeah, it's pretty sad, and if you're into that that kind of stuff, I recommend you to try it. You can find it online. I think I read it on Webtoons. And another one that I read was Noblesse, and from Noblesse I read from chapter 67 to chapter 122. Now this is not structured in volumes, so I don't know the volume count for all of that. Anyway, that's not important. It's a pretty interesting story about a group of a society of creatures, vampires, that don't like being called vampires and are actually called nobles. And at the top of those nobles there's a creature called the Noblesse. And yeah, they are a group of supernatural beings that kind of lived in the shadows along humans, and they kind of protected humans. So it's not a story about those kind of vampires that prey on humans and suck their blood and all of that stuff. Something a little bit different. That's why they are noble. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. This got me interested once I saw the anime over on Crunchyroll for this webtoon, and since then I wanted to see what's happening. And what I can tell you is that chapter 122, it's still adapted in the anime. And yeah, that was kind of it. Without counting any of the Noblesse chapters, I still managed to hit my target of 30 volumes per month. So one manga a day keeps the doctor away. And yeah, that was kind of it with my reads. Of course, not counting the hentai. That doesn't go in YouTube videos. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and sharing this with your friends. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you're always notified when I put out a new video about this. I'm usually doing manga, anime, haul, stuff like that, figure unboxing content, so all the weeby stuff over here. Yeah, that was kind of it. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you had fun with this, and yeah, see you in my next video. Bye bye.